Hello, everyone. We are live for the last word. Not often we do this, but it is late. We've got jobs, the pair of us. Morning as well. We're all back at work. This is the last word, and we're going to be talking all about the lineups, the game. We've also got a reaction from Johnny, and we've also got some audio clips from Callum Wilson. One thing never changes at the intro for the last word. That'll always be there. Slick. Right. I'm joined by Mr. Sam Muller. Normally I just do this on my own, but we are live, so I thought I may as well grab a guest in because it's late. Sam, thank you for everything tonight. I know you've helped me massively, but we're both shattered, aren't we?
Yes. I've been up since 5 a.m. With the kids, and they'll probably be up at 5 a.m. as well. But it makes it easier when Newcastle actually win. But hey ho, we love it, don't we? This is why we do it.
That's why we do it. We're covering the tune for everybody. Hope you have enjoyed all of the coverage tonight. Let's crack on with it. This is the last word. As you know, what we do is we'll take a look at the lineups first, talk about the game, as I mentioned in the clip. So we'll begin with the away side, I think, first. Then, Sam, when you looked at this and you thought yourself, is there any names jumping out at you thinking, oh, he's a danger? Obviously, the big talk was Mitrovic, of course.
Yeah, they made a few changes, didn't they? Mitrovic coming back in, Tom Kearney coming back in. That graphic on there is slightly misleading because Cavallero picked up a knock in the pre-match warm-up. So he was replaced by Reed. Lookman, for me, was the danger. I said in the preview that width was going to be key about this game because our full-backs are so either out of form or just poor in general. Lookman was a big danger, and Geese is a good player as well. They'd hit a slight improvement in form. They were well worth the point against Liverpool, weren't they? And that form was bumped up even higher with Liverpool winning 7-0 today at Palace. So there was a few players to be wary of. I wasn't overly concerned with Mitrovic, to be honest. I have to be honest. I thought Fernandes and Clark would keep him quiet. Lo and behold, that's what happened. But we should have been putting that team away, really.
We should have. We'll come to that in a moment. Let's take a look at Newcastle's lineup. There was a couple of surprises there. Yedlin and Dummett are the first two that jump out with me straight away. I was happy that he kept 4 at the back because I didn't want to go back to the wing backs. Me and Sam both agree. Johnny thinks differently, but me and Sam do not want to say wing backs at this football club anytime soon. So the big two, of course, Yedlin and Dummett out the cold straight in. Sean Longstaff continuing his midfield role. Again, a little bit surprised some fans might feel about that because his form has been up and down the last few games, especially the Leeds one. He was awful. Shelby, he was applauded by Sky, which surprised me with all the stats that came out after the game. Matt Ritchie in the lineup. Miggy back as well. Joe Linton, obviously that's Bruce's son, so he'll start. And Callum Wilson. And then for the first time this season, 9 substitutes have been named, but still you can only pick 3. But that probably gives squads a better chance of bringing on more options, of course, especially younger talent as well, which hopefully the Premier League do push through. But with that lineup there, Sam, obviously it's a game every 3 days. Am I right in saying Yedlin and Dummett are the two that pop out at you?
Yeah, big surprise, especially when we were told Dummett had a setback and was out for the foreseeable. But great to see him back. He didn't look completely fit, but you'd probably expect a bit of that. Lewis needed taken out, I suppose, so it was probably a good call. He'd been there. I like the lad, Jamal Lewis. I really do. I think he is definitely a one for the future and was very impressive in a poor Norwich team last season. But he's had an absolute mare the last 2 games in particular, hasn't he? So it's about time he came out. Yedlin was a surprise as well. I'd have thought Kraft would have been a shoo-in for tonight. I really would. Another thing that just glared out at me, especially with 9 substitutes now, where's Matty Longstaff? Where is he? Where's Alan saint-maximin? Where are they?
You sound like Delia Smith now, Norwich.
Where
are you?
Where are they?
Well, exactly, we are the. I will probably talk about those names again in the preview for Brentford, of course. But let's crack on with it. The game itself, it wasn't the greatest game to watch for a neutral.
So
I mean, for us, we know what Newcastle play in the first half. I would probably say Fulham did share it. To be honest with you, you'll probably agree, Sam. Obviously, I'm off the top of my head. I just remember Joe Linton header. A couple of shots went wide. I know Fulham didn't really test Darlow a great deal, but they're doing a lot of possession. They had a lot of the ball, a lot of pace out wide. But
yeah,
how did you feel the game was going?
we had too many players behind the ball. We didn't look. They looked like the home team. They set out like the home team. They were trying to win the game like the home team. They had more intent than us. It was just very, very lackluster. Very, very lackluster. Not much impetus put on the game. A couple of counter attacks through Miggy, but there was no one up with him at the right time. It was all very frustrating. It was just what we've become accustomed to, really, and that's the sad thing. I was watching it on the watch along with yourself and Adam, and I was watching it, and I was kind of numb to it because it's what we've just come to expect the last few weeks. It's a sad state of affairs, really. The midfield look a mess, and I don't know how a simple 4-4-2 formation. I don't know how a midfield can look a mess. But
Yeah, it's a shape, isn't it?
behold. But yeah, Fulham took the lead, and deservedly so.
Fluky goal, wasn't it? It's just ricocheted off Richie, and he doesn't know nothing about it. Is it harsh to put any blame on him?
I don't know, because the thing is, when you watch it in slow motion, it always looks worse. You don't know how much time he had to react. It didn't look like a lot. I mean, Joe Linton was the one that missed the header initially. Then you had 3 black and white shirts in between Joe Linton and Richie. So the way Richie reacted, if you watch, it was just, he just smacked him in the face. He didn't know anything about it. The most frustrating thing was the original header off a Fulham head. I can't recall who the player was.
Adebayo.
Yeah, I mean,
I've done well.
His header was going wide, which makes it all the more frustrating. It wasn't on target, but these things happen. Not very often, but they do. But you couldn't say it was against the run of play at all, could you?
No, Fulham went into half-time 1-0 up, and you would say they deserved it, and we think yourself, how they need a bit of a kick up the arse for the second half. And as the second half went on, well, obviously we'll touch upon, of course, the big penalty incident, but nothing really changed for me until the red card. We'll come on to the red card in a sec, but Wilson was obviously feeding off scraps. Obviously, of course, he went out and scored. We'll come on to him in a sec, but I was a little bit worried. There was no intensity, there was no urgency, we talk about leaders on the pitch as well. Where was the point, where was the arguing? Because I like a bit of argument, a bit of passion. Come on, bit of praise.
Richie was quiet in that respect tonight.
He was. So was Shelby. I know Shelby's not a great talker, but we had no Fernandez, remember, at this point, because he went off at half time. Well, it looks like I think it's an injury of Hayden coming on at half time. That didn't really change the game as such. That's why I'm not really talking about it. But there was nothing until the red card. And then, of course, the game came to life, Sam, with Johansson. Is it Johansson? Jacobson, isn't it? Because they did have a Johansson, didn't they? Anderson. There's too many, all these Scandinavian names. And our Danish, Denmark's not Scandinavian, before anyone corrects me, I know. But it's the other countries like to attach them. Anyways, we're going off topic. The penalty incident, for me, it's not a penalty, and I think we're very, very lucky.
Yeah, for me, it's a free kick. When we were on the watch along, we all shouted for a penalty, and we were all convinced it was going to be a penalty. But then again, referees now have this option of VAR, and well, it's not an option. It gets checked. And the thing is, he looked at the monitor, looked at it again, and there was two tugs of the shirt outside the box, followed by a little trip inside the box. I don't actually know whether or not there was any contact. If there was, it was very, very minimal. So it looks like we have got away with one, but after the one that we didn't get at Leeds in midweek, certainly not complaining, because that saved us a point, because we did not look like scoring from open play at all tonight.
Nah, the referees definitely helped win. It was the right decision. Obviously, there was a debate with me and you. Was it a second yellow card, a red card, whatever it was the right decision because he'd already been booked and he was last man. And was he outside the box? Was he not? But yeah, with the right decision. And then it was like you talked upon it. He was going to the is it a penalty? Is it not? We knew it was a red card. We knew that was happening, which we all agreed with. But I don't think none of us agreed that was a penalty. And obviously, Callum Wilson steps up and he's been vital for us. He's got this tendency to go down the middle, which you might need to mix that up a little bit now because he's gone down there a couple of times. What a key player he is for us, Sam, isn't he?
It's scary to think where we'd be without him. Really scary because last season we were reliant on ASM, as you pointed out in an earlier video. We haven't really got him around at the minute because, again, where is he? But 8 goals already this season. Works for the team. Works so hard. Feeds off scraps, and he's just different class. You are always, no matter how you're playing, no matter what system you're playing, no matter how bad Bruce Ball gets and continues to be, you have always got a chance when you've got a goal scorer like that in your team. Always. And he's got us out of a hole once again. And he wants more goals, doesn't he? He come out after the game. It's 2 points dropped, which it very much is. When you've got over half an hour to play against 10 men, against a side which is championship quality, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we couldn't break him down. And Fulham didn't look like they were a man down at all, did they?
No, we couldn't break them down. That was the most frustrating thing. We had half an hour with 10 men to play against. It's got to be 2 points dropped, and we gave Bruce very low rating. We all agreed it was a 1.5 out of 10 because, let's face it, you're a Premier League side, whatever you think of Bruce, whatever you think of Newcastle, you're playing against 10 men at home for half an hour. We didn't even barely create anything, and that's really alarming.
The changes came too late.
Changes too late. The subs were good. Well, subs were all right. Don't get me wrong. But Gale, I'd like to say Gale start, man. Yes, he's not as good as Wilson, but he's the next best thing that we've got after Wilson. But Wilson's going to take the plaudits. We know that was 2 points dropped. I've got an audio clip of Callum Wilson. Sorry, here he is.
Disappointing. I think we started the game well. We let them in the game with a sloppy goal, and then you got a mountain to climb. Then managed to get ourselves back level, and playing against 10 men is sometimes difficult. We just couldn't find that breakthrough to break them down. No, I thought it was a penalty. That's what I had onto the ball. Just kept out of the way of everyone, clear my head, and just had a job to do when they blew the whistle. I'm not one to make excuses, and no one in the group is either. I think you get setbacks along the way in football, and you just got to deal with it. That's what squads are for, and I think we welcome them boys back with open arms because we need as many players as we can going into this busy period. It's actually 8 goals.
Sorry, 8. Yes, you're right.
I'm happy with the start. You can always do better. You can always improve. I had a chance last game I should have put away. I'm one to focus on the negatives and how I can get better. But I take 8 goals, and obviously going into the Christmas period.
He wants to focus on the negatives. He wants to get better. That's the hunger. Maybe Joe Linton should look at Wilson as well. We'll read some of your comments out in a moment. We'll have a look at the league table next, where that leaves Newcastle, and then we'll have a look at the clip from Johnny, and then we are going to wrap up. So after that result, Fulham do climb out of the relegation zone. Obviously, they have played a couple of games extra than Burnley, so I would expect Burnley to pick up a point in the next 2 games at least. But Fulham are starting to pick up points. I think that's 3 unbeaten, but some people might say 3 wins without any wins. But whichever way you look at it, they are picking up points now. And Sheffield United looking a little bit out of danger, 9 points. Look at Arsenal, man, getting beat again tonight. But Newcastle sitting in 12th. And what you're laughing at, Sam?
Because if you'd have said to me after 13 games we'd be 4 points ahead of Arsenal with a game in hand at Christmas,
you'd be thinking like
you'd be renewing your passport as we speak, wouldn't you? Crazy.
It is still tight though, but Arsenal are in a dire strait. But obviously we're not talking about them. Newcastle, I think it was important to stop the rot, because if we did win, Fulham would have been just 5 points behind us. But like I say, we should have won that game. That's 2 points dropped for me with 10 men. But we take a breather, of course, with the league now. because we've got Brentford. Game comes back around quick on Tuesday. We'll talk more about that because I am a little bit worried about that one. I do have a clip from Mr. Greenwood. Here he is, all about the game.
Big moment in the 60th minute when Callum Wilson gets brought down for the penalty. Fulham go down to 10 men. Great penalty finish from Callum Wilson. But you're thinking, can we break down this Fulham side? And why didn't we break down this Fulham side? Well, we didn't gamble, really. We didn't really go for it. Like, Sean Longstaff had a shot from a free kick, but in open play, Gale was on, Fraser was on, Wilson was still on the pitch. We didn't give them the deliveries, really, to help them. Almiron tried to get the through balls, but we just lacked so much creativity. Now, does that come from the manager or does that come from the players? In my particular opinion, it's a bit of both. The manager has to bring on those two players in particular, Fraser and Gale, a lot earlier, within the next 5 minutes of that penalty going in. He waited and waited until he thought, well, we can have a real go in, which was about 10, 15 minutes from the end. Not good enough from Steve Bruce in that particular point of view, but the players have got to do more. You've got to be able to break teams like Fulham down. Go for it. Have a few chances. You've got to kind of almost gamble in these opportunities. Fulham are a team that would have been probably desperate for a point as soon as they go down to 10 men. And we've made it very, very easy for them. We really have, but got to be so much more better creative-wise. Got to have Ryan Fraser on that pitch. He really is a spark, and he'll go at players. We haven't got many players like that in our team. You have a go at players, you create mistakes, you get goals, especially against teams near the bottom. But 2 points dropped for Newcastle from then on, really.
That was Johnny a little bit earlier. He looks more tired than what I am. But yes, that was Johnny. He made a good point about Ryan Fraser there, didn't he, Sam? He's got a... Would you start him for Tuesday?
Yeah. He should have come... Yeah, I mean, he's spot on what he said there, is Johnny. The subs were left too late. When Fraser did eventually come on, the intensity lifted briefly, but it just didn't have... We didn't have enough time. Joe Linton was a passenger in that second half, and for large parts of the first half as well. But them subs, as Johnny rightly put, as soon as that penalty goes in, 1-1, 10 men, 30-odd minutes to go, let's bring on Gale, let's bring on Fraser. I know, you probably would have liked to have brought on Jacob Murphy as well, but obviously forced change at half-time. Fernandez didn't look right to me all game. There was something awry with him. I don't know why he was playing. He was one of the ones that was suffering with COVID, wasn't he? As well was Isaac Hayden. Yeah, the squad might still be feeling the after effects of a virus that's killing people around the world, but that team should have had enough to be
should have won. Should have had more agency. I would, like I mentioned, I would have liked to see, because when Fulham accepted that they're going for the point, take Hayden out with centre back, just put him centre midfield, let Jonjo go. There's another body, just take a risk, like Johnny was saying, take a gamble. But we didn't, and we got a point. Let's read out your chat. There's just a few that came in, and then we are wrapping up for tonight's adventures. So, worst night of football I've ever seen. I wouldn't go that far, to be honest.
I mean, Brighton and Norwich at home last season was...
Leicester away was tough as well.
Oh, yes.
So Wilson dives and we take a point. Yes, we will take a point, Ginger. We'll take it and run. Did we deserve it? Hell no. Did we not? It was an awful game, say Thomas as well. Thomas is putting a lot of comments in as well. Lascelles and saint-maximin kicked off with Bruce about us not playing attacking football. There is a lot of rumours about that with the two falling out, but we will say they are just rumours. There's nothing concrete.
They are, but if you remember, and I said this to Fordy on the fan reaction show, Lascelles and Rafa had a tiff, which caused Lascelles and John Joe Shelby to be dropped from the Chelsea 2-1 home defeat season before last. So I like, despite what people think of Lascelles' form this season, which has a bit been more missed than hit, I still like him in that dressing room because he will stand up for us. He will stand up for Newcastle United. He did it under McLaren, didn't he? And he's not afraid to speak up, and that's what we need. We need him in there. That
is it. So it's been a long one for us. We've been live since 7. So it's now 25-1. We're both tired, we're both knackered. We're both going to climb into bed because we've got work in the morning, which is fab, which is lovely. Thank you very much for all of you watching. If you're brand new, hit that subscribe. We'd love you to stay on board with our journey. It's frustrating, but this is why we do it. True opinions, true fans, blah, 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 blah. All of that. Right. I'm blabbering on. I'm going to get to bed. Thanks for your company, Sam, as ever.
No problem.
Right. Ta-da, everyone. It's a day.